We need to build a wall, and it has to be built quickly.
.907 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. Is it going to rain all weekend? Am I the only one excited about that?
Bro, it's going to be not 95 degrees all the time.
My favorite plans are canceled plans. And guess what, boys? Canceled plans are on the menu.
I'm here for it.
I can't wait. I don't know if you know this about me, but I have a lot of kids, and we have all these activities. There's always an activity, and then as soon as you think you're done with the activities, there's another activity that you forgot about, and you are done being active. And I love the kids. I want the activities. We encourage activities. We don't want stagnation. Don't get me wrong. But I love canceled activities. I think there's part of me that loves canceling the plans more than I love making them. It's going to be a good weekend.
Yeah, it feels nice to make them in the moment, but the canceling is just it's a feeling of euphoria you don't get often.
It's so good. And here's the thing. I'm like, Kennedy's getting to like a fun age, right? She's 12. She's at that age where like we can start watching some movies that like we've never been able to watch before. So I've been wanting to watch Jaws with her.
Oh.
And I think I might talk her into it this weekend. We don't have any more beach trips on the agenda for the rest of the summer. So I feel like enough time will pass so that way I don't scar her emotionally for the rest of her life.
That's fair.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we'll have a whole winter to go through before the next time we head to the ocean.
And then she'll see the sand and go,
should I do? Is Jaws too much for a 12-year-old? Because here's the other thing. Here's the other thing I do. I thought she was ready for The Patriot with Mel Gibson because it's based. And then we were like 30 seconds into it and that body floats down the river. And I was like, oh, forgot about that part.
Whoops.
So maybe there's some parts I'm forgetting. Doesn't that one guy get mauled by a shark, actually?
I don't know how much it shows, though.
But there's a lot of blood.
Yeah.
If I recall correctly.
Yeah.
Well, Chris, depending on whether you're seeing an edited version of Jaws, there is the scene where the guy's leg floats down to the severed leg. That's
okay.
All
right. Maybe we'll wait another year.
Yeah. There's a difference between a full body because it's like, oh, that's maintained. Just a limb.
Yeah, just the limb kind of floats down. And I tell you, in that movie, I was 15 when it came out, and the part that spooked me was when the guy's head pokes out through that hole in the ship.
Yeah.
When
Okay.
so that
All
I
right.
don't know. It may be a little too intense for a 12-year-old girl.
Maybe. You know what I was watching at 12? Anaconda. Because
Of course you.
why not? Do you remember that one? That one was sick. Jennifer Lopez was in it. Remember that?
Yep.
Remember, like, right at the end, the snake eats the bad guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my older cousin, Matt. Rest in peace, Matt. We love you.
Oh.
But Matt was like, dude, you're fine. I'm like, what? He's like, why are you freaking out? I'm like, reasons.
It's just a snake.
Reasons. We got a lot to get to today. We're really excited. We're excited about the rain. We're excited about cancel plans. Shout out to the guys that work outside that got to take today off because the weather's cooperating with your schedule. We appreciate you tuning in. However you're tuning in on all the apps, iHeartRadio, tune in, the FM dial. You can be watching us as well, Super Talk TV. I mentioned a moment ago, I got a lot of kids. They're very, very hungry. I told them we only eat when we get the likes up. So please hit like on YouTube. We appreciate you doing so. People are waiting. I just got the text line open. Somebody said, Chris, she's definitely ready for Full Metal Jacket. Mario is recommending The Exorcist. Yep. Oh, there's full female nudity at the start of Jaws. The old school movies were wild.
Anything could go.
What was Jaws rated? Wasn't it rated like PG? So I remember.
Hold on, I'll check.
Yeah, it is. Somebody said it's PG. I remember this is we got Netflix, right? But this was Netflix before the streaming. It was back when you mailed DVDs. My mom was on the cutting edge of technology here.
Loved it.
And she's like, look at this. We don't even have to go to Blockbuster anymore. And I remember being like, well, I like Blockbuster. And now it's like my mom was part of the problem. That's the reason why we don't have Blockbusters anymore. So she was. So we had the 3 DVD a month plan, and we're like, you get to watch them as much as you want, then you put them back in the mail, and then it's so easy. It's amazing. Look at this. This is the future. This is the future. And so we were renting like everything, and my mom rented 16 Candles, which was also rated PG. That was the first pair of boobs I ever saw. And I remember being like, Netflix is sick. Netflix is awesome.
We should do this more often.
Like, you were right, Mom. Screw Blockbuster. I don't know. Maybe I'll just wait and I'll bring Jaws to my nephew Ben and see how he handles it. I'll be the cool uncle. I'll be the cool uncle instead of the poor father. Maybe that's the move. He'll be my guinea pig. Be like, hey Ben, just me and you hanging out tonight. We're gonna watch a movie. I'm gonna test it out on you, Ben. They're the same age, so I'll see what happens. I'll see what happens with my nephew Ben. I'll be the cool uncle. Be like, you want to smoke a cigarette too? And then we'll see what happens.
Just take a sip of this beer. I won't tell anybody.
So, all right. A lot of people are like. I'm learning a lot about the super texters because half of you guys are very much looking out for me. They're like, don't do it. And then the other half of you are encouraging me. They're like, do it.
You won't do it.
You won't. I double dog dare you. But yeah, we got a big show today. I don't mean to get completely sidetracked. And now everybody's telling me the first movie that they saw a pair of boobs in. Okay, like, sorry I brought it up. I'm sorry. It was a nostalgia story. It wasn't a boob story.
Yeah, this is your fault.
I'm just being honest. That's Netflix won me over right then and there.
That's gold, Jerry. Gold!
It was like our second movie delivery too. Like we got through round 1, all was good.
No complaints.
I think I watched The Iron Giant, which is a based movie, by the way.
Great movie.
One of the best. My boys
So
love
good.
it. It's so good. Still good. And then
Holds
we got
up
to
so well.
we got to the second round of Netflix movies, and it was like boom. It's like whoa. What other movies do you remember that are awesome, Mom? I don't even really remember the plot to 16 Candles.
But you remember one thing.
But she was also turning 16, right? So that's a weird thing. They weren't even adult boobs, I guess. Right?
Yeah, I don't like this conversation.
I'm just saying. The people that used to make movies were sick. So it's just the reality. They're like, what do we need in this shark movie, boobs? In the first couple of minutes.
Makes sense.
That tracks, actually. That's it's exactly what we need. So, all right. The robot shark keeps malfunctioning. We're not going to have him in a lot of the scenes. We're going to need some filler. Say no more, fam. Say no more. We know exactly what to do. So we got a big show today. Tim Burchett is going to be joining the show at 9:35. We talked about this a couple days ago, the story of Seth Rich. And I think it's important to rehash this. And Tim Burchett is calling for the release of the Seth Rich Files. These are the files that they said didn't exist. Now, if we're going to recap the story, I can do it for you very, very quickly. Seth Rich is an American hero. And one of the things that absolutely it blew my mind yesterday, I was talking with a couple friends who are, I wouldn't necessarily call these guys young by any stretch of the imagination. They're in their like mid to late 20s, right? Or early 30s. And I said, have you guys been following the Seth Rich stuff? And they said, who's Seth Rich? And I was like, what? Excuse me? They're like, yeah, they had no idea. And it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, I realize how chronically addicted to the news cycle I am, and to the underbelly of the internet, and to conspiracy theories, and to the fact that a lot of the media lies by omission, and that you have to be your own arbiter of truth in a lot of these situations. You have to be your own independent research firm. So I just went off on a tangent, and I was like, this man changed American history. You can make the argument that he changed global history. And they had no idea who he was. Seth Rich leaked 30,000 emails to WikiLeaks that proved the DNC rigged the primary for Hillary Clinton over Bernie Sanders. And he got murdered for it. He was murdered. And that single act set off a chain reaction that changed everything. The emails started it all. They exposed the Pizzagate emails from John Podesta, which started another conspiracy theory that nobody wanted to touch. Nobody ever wanted to investigate those emails. It kicked off the whole Pizzagate saga. It started the mass awakening to the Jeffrey Epstein files. They launched Russiagate in response to this as a cover story. They demonized Julian Assange in response to this, and he got stuck in an Ecuadorian embassy because of it for years. And it created the conditions that led to Donald Trump being elected in 2016. And I truly believe you can make the argument, if it wasn't for Seth Rich, Donald Trump doesn't get elected. And I don't even think that's a stretch. I think that is a reality. And when you make that connection, you can understand why Seth Rich didn't just change the course of American history, he changed the course of global history. And I don't think that you can sit here and pretend that he didn't. So he was the guy that leaked the emails to Julian Assange. And again, Julian Assange said this as much himself. Now, WikiLeaks protects their sources, so he doesn't name Seth Rich here by name, but he essentially confirms it. He's doing an interview with Dutch TV, and during this interview, Julian Assange essentially confirms that Seth Rich was his source for the Hillary Clinton DNC files.
Donald Trump has had a disastrous few weeks. If you look at the polls, he needs a miracle. In the American political lexicon, there's such a thing as the October surprise. The stuff that you're sitting on, is an October surprise in there? Do you even know what you're sitting on?
WikiLeaks never sits on material. Whistleblowers go to significant efforts to get us material, and often very significant risks. There's a 27-year-old works for the DNC who was shot in the back, murdered just 2 weeks ago for unknown reasons as he was walking down the street in Washington. So
that was just a robbery, I believe, wasn't it?
No,
No.
There's no finding. So
what are you suggesting? What are you suggesting?
You know what he's suggesting.
I'm suggesting that our sources take risks, and they become concerned to see things occurring like that.
That was the media narrative, essentially, from the jump with Seth Rich. That was just a robbery. It was just a robbery, you idiot. And even if you Google Seth Rich's name now and you were to go back in the Google history, right, and you look at all the news stories around it, you find the usual suspects. It's NPR, it's the BBC, it's CNN. And it's all about how Seth Rich was a conspiracy theory. And at the time, the FBI, who was led by Obama, said, we're not going to investigate this. It's a local matter. And local officials determined that this was a botched robbery where they left behind Seth Rich's wallet, phone, and watch. Heck of a botched robbery. So the FBI said, we're not touching it. That's local jurisdiction. But here's the development and why it's so important. We've been finding a lot of info in burn bags in skiffs inside the J. Edgar Hoover building. And it was just recently announced that the FBI and Director Kash Patel, they happened to find hundreds of files on Seth Rich in a burn bag inside a skiff at the J. Edgar Hoover building. You guys said that you never investigated this. Why do you have all these files then? What do the files say? The American people deserve answers. Seth Rich deserves justice, and he deserves the honor bestowed upon him of an American patriot. Bernie bro or not, he is an American patriot who saw something wrong happening, and he decided to act on it. And that action cost him his life, and it changed the course of global history. Seth Rich is an absolute example of doing the right thing no matter the cost. And he did that. So our own representative, Tim Burchett, has now called on the FBI to release all of these files. He sent a formal letter to the director of the FBI, Kash Patel, demanding the release. Tim Burchett is going to be joining the show to talk about this at 9:35, and we're excited to have him on. We'll ask him some other questions, too. Anything you want to ask the representative, you are more than welcome to chime in. Send your questions to the text line, 615-737-9986. A lot to get to, little bit of time. It's 9:23 on this rainy Friday. Yep, I did a time check. Super Talk, 99.7 WTN.
Hey, this is Pastor Al, and join us on Super Talk 99.7, Sunday evenings from 7 to 8. We're going to look at the news from a biblical perspective.
President Trump removing some election assistance commissioners. And as you can imagine, some folks not happy about that. More on the ICE agent involved shooting in Houston. And the hunt is on for a man accused of trying to run down some Goodlettsville police officers. We'll have those stories coming up at 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Jay Harper in the newsroom. My name is Chris Hand at Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. A lot of movie recommendations on the text line. A lot of people are suggesting Young Washington. Have you seen Young Washington yet?
I haven't seen it yet, but it does look good.
A lot of people were like, Chris, you must have seen this already. I haven't. I haven't even watched the trailer. I've heard people discussing it. But
Been in the vicinity of conversations.
It's been within earshot.
Down the hall.
But I have not seen it yet. Is Young Washington, like, weren't all the founding fathers pretty young?
Most of them, yeah.
So is it younger Washington?
Maybe.
I don't know. I'll watch it. I actually probably won't. Here's the thing. I don't like to do things when I'm told to. And everybody's like, you got to see it. I'm like, It's still in theaters, though, right?
It just came out.
Okay. Well, I'm definitely not doing that. I was just talking about how excited I am about canceled plans. I'm not going to make new plans to fill in the canceled ones. That seems backwards.
We only move forward here.
Almost as backwards as the FBI saying it's a local matter. We're not going to investigate Seth Rich. By the way, we investigated Seth Rich. Tim Burchett is demanding the release of those files. He'll be joining the show next. It's 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It is 9:30. I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. Stand by for that weekend forecast. President Trump has removed the 3 remaining members of a bipartisan federal commission that tests and certifies voting machines. The move is, ticking off Democrats. Surprise, surprise. ABC's Stephen Portnoy has more.
Stood up to help states update their voting systems after the 2000 Florida recount, the Election Assistance Commission certifies equipment and offers guidance to state officials. It's meant to be bipartisan. An aide says the president has the right to remove officials who, quote, may not be totally aligned with the important task of securing America's elections and ensuring every legal vote is counted. Top Senate Democrat Chuck Schumer calls the firings a brazen attempt to seize control of elections months before the midterms.
The Department of Homeland Security admitting that the man shot and killed by ICE in Houston this week was not the intended target of their investigation. In a statement, a DHS official is now saying 52-year-old Lorenzo Salgado Araujo, a husband and father of 3, was stopped by ICE because he resembled the target of an investigation, causing officers to pull him over in his vehicle.
The Washington Post now reporting migrants who were in the car with Salgado Araujo, through statements given to their lawyer, dispute key parts of ICE's narrative. One writing, it is impossible for them to say that they were going to get run over. There were no officers in front of or behind the vehicle. They were on the sides.
Back here in Middle Tennessee, authorities are searching for a man who Goodlettsville police said reportedly fled from them early this morning. Goodlettsville police reported a license plate reader identified a stolen Jaguar XF at an apartment off Altaloma Road that had been stolen from Robertson County back on July 7th. When police attempted to pull the Jaguar over, the driver intentionally rammed a Goodlettsville police vehicle before leaving the scene. That, according to Goodlettsville police. During the pursuit, 2 officers involved in a separate crash and taken to an area hospital, and they had minor injuries. They were treated and released. The suspect They know who he is. He's identified as 30-year-old Jordan Barbie. He is now wanted on multiple warrants for assault on a law enforcement officer. Goodlettsville police also believe a handgun may have been in that vehicle when it was stolen. So police are reporting that Barbie should be considered armed and dangerous. If you see this man, do not approach. Just call 911. That is the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
The guaranteed offer is the simplest, least stressful way to sell your home. You go to our website, you fill out a quick form, we set an appointment, we bring you an all-cash offer. Literally, there's no lockbox on the front of your house, there's no showings, we pay all cash, we close in as little as 21 days, stress-free. We've helped thousands of homeowners just like you sell your home the hassle-free way with a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate.
Donald Trump has had a disastrous few weeks. If you look at the polls, he needs a miracle. In the American political lexicon, there's such a thing as the October surprise. The stuff that you're sitting on, is an October surprise in there? Do you even know what you're sitting on?
WikiLeaks never sits on material. Whistleblowers go to significant efforts to get us material, and often very significant risks. As a 27-year-old works for the DNC, who was shot in the back, murdered just 2 weeks ago for unknown reasons as he was walking down the street in Washington. So
that was just a robbery, I believe, wasn't it?
No,
it was not. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. That was Julian Assange in an interview with a Dutch media outlet in the weeks following Seth Rich's murder. It was a murder. A lot of people think it's because he gave 30,000 emails to WikiLeaks. And the FBI, at the time, we were told, didn't investigate this because it was a local matter. It was a botched robbery where they left behind the wallet, the watch, and the phone. Weird. Now, we find out that the FBI actually did have some files on it. And the first person that I saw talking about it was our own Congressman Tim Burchett, who joins the show now. Congressman, welcome to the program. Thank you for what you're doing. How are you?
Well, after this latest deal, my head's on a swivel, and I want you to know, for the record, I am not suicidal. Again, if you find me with 17 bullet holes in the back of my head, I did not take my life. So,
well, don't forget, after you shoot yourself 17 times in the back, to really make sure it sticks, jump down the stairs.
And throw my gun 30 feet away from me.
Yes.
So, yeah. That's another one. That's another one. Anyway, go ahead, brother. I'm sorry.
So first of all, I just want to thank you. I mean, as far as I can tell, you were the only congressman with the stones to be writing a direct letter to the FBI director, Kash Patel, saying, can you release this information? So how did you find out that the FBI had this info? Where is the info, and what happens next?
Well, I can't really disclose that, if that's all right. You're a reporter in the media, to protect your sources, and I know that if I don't, that I'll never get information again, and I try to honor my word.
Fair enough.
But yeah, from fairly credible sources that they had it, and as I told the president, I said, look, you put good people in place, but we're going 3 or 4 layers deep on the onion on this stuff, and we got to get to the bottom of it. And his own people have told me that he has as well, that he runs into some obstacles. Like when I'm dealing with the UFO issue, and some little punk with a man bun under the Biden administration tells me that the president is on a need-to-know basis. I mean, that's institutional, the arrogance that you see in these organizations. And let me straighten up one thing. By and far, the members of the FBI are loyal patriots, all right? But when you get down to that 3 or 4 levels, you get up there at the 12th or 13th floor of the Justice Building, I forget which it is. I try to stay as far away from that bunch as I can. We've had some problems in the past, and they do not like our country or the direction. They are deep state as you can get. And I don't know, either the president or the Lord will have to take them out, because it's hard to root that out,
Yeah.
Under Biden in the State Department, they'd have pictures of Che Guevara up in people's cubicles. It's
Insane.
Just yeah, it is. And we're sitting around here acting like it's not going on. And then when you do it, they say, oh man, you're a tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorist. No, we're not.
No, I mean, you can
this is the reality of Washington D.C.
Well,
and my problems go. I know AOC and that bunch are a bunch of communists. They admit it.
Yep.
It's the people we've got on our side that want to play ball with them. There was a 18th century botanist who had this theory. He said, I'm going to grow a field full of vegetables and fruits and everything, and I'm going to let it go. And then I'm going to do one beside it that I'll take care of, thinking that will appease the, nature. And no, it won't. It just allows a base for it to come over into ours. Why in the world are Democrats Democrats not calling out that bunch in New York. One of those, literally a communist, said she used the American flag for a napkin.
Yep.
That's the same flag that men died freeing the slaves. That's the same 48-star flag that hangs on my wall that my uncle, who I never got to meet, my Uncle Roy from Cheatham County, Tennessee, died fighting under. That's the same flag my dad took a lot of people's lives for in the Pacific in the Second World War. And it's the same dadgum flag that they wipe their hands on. We better wake up. Democrats not calling them out are part of the problem, and Republicans not standing up and saying this is wrong are a worse part of the problem. Well, and we got to get rid of them. And these knuckleheads I read on the internet keep saying, oh, we're going to primary them. Well, guess what? The primary is already here. The deadline is passed. Quit bloviating and get off your ass and get to the polls and start voting.
Well, and this is one of the reasons why I think the Seth Rich story is so important. I was talking with a couple of younger guys that I work with, and they didn't know who Seth Rich was. And I think that Seth Rich is an American patriot for what he did. And this guy was a Democrat. He was a Bernie bro. And he saw something that was wrong, and he tried to fix it as best he could. Right or wrong, given the information to WikiLeaks, I think that he made the right choice, and he paid for that choice.
Yeah. Can I tell you why Bernie is successful?
Tell me.
Bernie was successful because he said what he believed. He is a left-wing, I don't agree with anything with him. Anything. Right. I see him at the Capitol, I just shake my head. I was like, what in the world happened to that guy? He's like that. But he tells what he believes. He's not taken an opinion poll. He has not changed one iota. And that's why kids respond to it. And that's why they quit responding to these lightweight Republicans, because they just shift in the wind, whatever the polls say. That's why the polling shows people like me. They always say, I hear it from the middle and the left. I don't like what he says, but I know what he believes it, and he never changes, and that's just it.
So
we got to get past that. We got to quit doing these opinion polls and quit and just start doing what's right.
So when Seth Rich was murdered for exposing that the DNC rigged the primary against Bernie Sanders, why didn't Bernie Sanders speak up?
I think people are compromised, and I think probably he just thought it wasn't even possible that they could do that. And also, there's one other point. They didn't take his tennis shoes.
Yep.
When you get mugged in Washington, D.C., they leave you out there, you're in your shorts and your shirt, maybe. When you get mugged, that has shades of Chappaquiddick all over it to me. That just reeks of it. And, that whole deal is just that just stunk from top to bottom, and you got some very evil people that we've allowed in the White House, in both parties, actually.
Yep. So,
we got to start addressing this, and nothing happens in that town. Nothing happens by accident. Nothing.
So
people get beat, people get caught in stuff, nothing. I just don't trust it.
So when you dropped this letter to Director Kash Patel requesting the release of all the FBI records on Seth Rich after years of saying that they didn't investigate it because it was a local issue, have you heard back from Director Patel yet?
I have not, but that doesn't surprise me. It's pretty deep, and he's just doing the best he can. And it's how pitiful that we've allowed this system to be.
But isn't the Seth Rich case a linchpin here? I mean, I think that you can make the argument that what Seth Rich did was a bigger event than Donald Trump getting elected, because I don't think he gets elected without Seth Rich. And then it snowballed into the Pizzagate stuff, the Epstein file stuff. It snowballed into the Russiagate hoax. It set off a course of events that was massive.
Yeah, I think if they acknowledge it, then they have to really start. I think they've already been investigating it for quite some time. And by the time you hear about it, it's, knowing that, but I wanted to get them on record just in the chance that they weren't looking into it. But my sources tell me by the time we heard about it, they'd already been in it pretty deep.
Do you think that anything comes of this? I mean, knowing DC like DC.
I don't. I really don't. I don't. It's just like the UFO issue, man. I keep, they dangling that carrot, and everybody's, oh yeah, this is it. And I go, this ain't it. I think until the Lord comes, or maybe I'm on the other side in heaven, we'll never know a lot of these answers. because I think it's so deep and it's so evil, and too many people on our side are compromised to do anything. I mean, why in the world are people just not clamoring about these communists? Why aren't they yelling about Seth Rich? When it happened, everybody talked about it, but everybody was afraid. And I talked to the Democrats in the gym every morning in the locker room, and you know, and they kind of joke about it, you know, the sad state of affairs of their party and where they're headed. But they're not going to stand up and say anything because they know the retribution. Look, Washington, D.C., both parties, all they want is leadership to call them at the golf course and say, hey, we're ready to vote. This is how you're going to vote. And then 6 weeks before the election, they go home and throw the red meat out. You know, Trump's bad. They're trying to do this, do that, or on our side, you know, the Democrats are bad and they're just trying to do this and do that, and that's all. And then they get reelected and they all wink and nod and go on their coattails together and go to fancy places at your expense.
Do you feel like we have thrown away the momentum that we had come November of 2024 to today?
No, I really don't. I think what we've done is because those people don't answer the polls. Those people are out there working right now and are listening to me and will text me after this is over saying, yes, this is what needs to be said. And I think they're there. I just think we try to suppress them. And I blame it on our own people. I blame it on the preachers who don't preach the gospel and the people that just get hammered by the bots and the fake stuff on Facebook and Twitter and you know, and I blame it on our own leadership. You know, I have developed, I'm an 8-year overnight success in Congress, but I've developed a pretty good following on the internet and all the other, more than anybody else, pretty much in Congress. I read a report not long ago. I'm not bragging. It's just I've got great people and I've worked my butt off on it. And I go talk to our people and they'll say, oh, we want you to come speak at this thing on social media. And, you know, it'll have a half a dozen congressmen there. And the person leading it will start talking about how we need to talk to our newspapers more and explain to them how they're wrong, you know, and then they start talking about maybe we ought to get some billboards. And I'm thinking, what world are we living in? Because leadership doesn't want to change. All they want to do is have that suburban and that security detail and stay in power. And that's all they care about, both parties. And we got to get past that. We got to start electing some people that have some guts that will stand up to them. And I, you know,
you don't sound very optimistic.
Well, no, I knew that when I got in there. I'm just telling you the truth. No, but it makes you want to fight more. And that's why people need to get mad and get to the dadgum polls. And it's not just the state and the federal elections. It's the local elections. You know, look at what's happened in Nashville. Look what's happened in Knoxville, Tennessee, my own hometown. Look, Knox County, there's the county mayor's race. There's a great, great young lady who's running on the Republican side. But the Democrat literally marched with Maduro 6 years ago. He says it's a youthful indiscretion. The guy was a communist. He lost, apparently, what I was told, he lost his job at his own union, and he's running around like he's the working man's friend. I mean, he's an organizer, far left, and yet Knox County, Tennessee, the Democrat Party has put somebody who affiliated with a communist murder that the United States took out. You know, and this is in our own backyard. We're not. I keep saying, look, folks, they're not on the other side of the fence. They're inside the gate, and they're everywhere. And we better start calling them out and quit worrying about what the media says and what the social media. We better get off our butts because this election these primaries. This is for everything. And every time we say, oh, we're going to elect a moderate Democrat in Tennessee or this person, ask them how many times they're going to not vote with Pelosi in that crowd. Ask them how many times. Well, we do that every time, and and 99% of the time, the hardcore, the pro-abortion, the pro-transgender stuff, the anti-police, the anti-border, they always vote with them. Always.
Well, and I mean, if you look, you want to elect a moderate Democrat, look no further than the Commonwealth of Virginia. Their governor is anything but moderate, yet she campaigned just like that. We're talking with Congressman Tim Burchett. The media is not going to ask the questions. Have you spoke to President Trump about the Seth Rich Files?
I'm not going to disclose what the president and I talk about, but I'll just say he's very aware.
Do you think things would change if the president brought it up?
As I've stated, I think the president is aware, and I'll leave it at that.
Congressman Burchett, I appreciate the time as always. Any closing thoughts to the people of Tennessee?
Yeah, let's take back our dadgum country. Let's take it back, folks. This is your chance. My Uncle Roy died so you can sit on your ass on Election Day and not do anything and follow what the left and these moderate Republicans want you to do. Let's take our country back, folks. God's given us an incredible gift. Let's not throw it away.
Congressman Burchett, real quick, though. When you say take it back from who? Because currently we have the House, we have the Senate, we have the presidency, we're supposed to have the Supreme Court. Who are we taking the country back from?
Well, I don't like the term rhinos and moderates, but that's what you need to take it back from. We need to follow what President Trump said. Strong border, strong economy. Let our enemies fear us, which they do now, and our friends respect us again. That's what we got to back him up on. I've put in about 15 bills dealing with his executive orders. Not a one of them's been heard. Let's take it back. Let's hold our people accountable. That's what you got to do. Reagan said it best: trust but verify. Dadgummit, Election Day, and hold them accountable. I don't care if you play golf with them. They dated your sister. They're in your Sunday school class. Hold them accountable. Too many people died. Too many people died and gave up their lives. Look, my daddy never died in combat, but you know what? Every time I ever had to wake him up to the day he died, I always had to wake him up by his big toe, because he woke up on one of those dadgum islands and he could have pinned me up against that wall. These people sacrificed for this country. Let's remember that. Remember that.
Amen. Congressman Burchett, thank you for the time as always. We appreciate you and what you're doing up there in D.C.
Love you guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.
God bless. That's Congressman Tim Burchett. My name is Chris Hand. I got to tell you about my friends at USS. Let's be honest, foundation issues are one of those things that homeowners don't want to deal with. You see a crack, maybe a door doesn't close right, your driveway starts sinking, and you think, I'll get to it later. But here's the thing. The problem's not going to fix itself, and later usually means more expensive. This is why you need to call somebody you can trust. And I'm telling you, you can trust United Structural Systems. They've been doing the work since 1994 here in Tennessee. And what you're going to appreciate and what I appreciate is the approach. No scare tactics, no overselling. They'll actually take the time to inspect your home. They'll explain what's going on, and then they'll tell you the truth. And if you don't need repairs, that's what they tell you. If you do need repairs, they'll explain everything you need to get done before they start the work, so you know exactly what's going to be happening. They'll handle everything from foundation repair to crawl space work to concrete leveling, and they do it with systems designed to last. Don't let foundation problems get worse while you wait. Visit USSTN.com or call 615-488-7855. 615-488-7855, USSTN.com.
It is 10 a.m. I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. That weekend weather forecast is coming up. The county prosecutor in Houston, Texas, says he's launching an investigation into this week's killing of an undocumented immigrant by ICE agents, separate from the federal investigation. ABC's Jim Ryan says there are striking similarities between the Houston case and January's killing of Renee Good in Minneapolis.
A person in a vehicle is shot to death by ICE officers who claim self-defense. In Minneapolis,
Hennepin County has navigated that as well as I think can possibly be expected.
Harris County DA Sean Tier tells Houston Public Media that as he investigates the shooting of Lorenzo Salgado Araujo,
we've already leaned on them and will continue to lean on them.
His counterpart in Minneapolis is in a legal fight over access to evidence in the Renee Good case.
Apparently, the U.S. and Iran are still talking following 2 days of retaliatory strikes against one another. ABC's Karen Hua on protests in Iran.
On the final day of a 6-day funeral for former Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei, who was killed in a joint U.S.-Israeli airstrike at the start of the war, massive crowds of mourners filled the streets. Some chanting threats against the president while carrying banners reading, "We will kill Trump." The Wall Street Journal reporting, Israel recently shared intelligence with the U.S. about a new Iranian plot to assassinate President Trump.
Lawyers for the former Olympian charged with vandalizing the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool prepares to fight his case in court. David Hearn pleading not guilty after the Justice Department charged him with causing more than $1,000 in damage. We hear now from ABC's Selena Wang.
Hearn told me that he simply touched a part of the blue coating that was already partially detached, telling me, quote, "I did not remove, I did not damage, I did not rip, tear, break, destroy, or harm any part of the reflecting pool." His lawyer says every American is at risk and should be alarmed by his prosecution, and now 3 more have pleaded not guilty who have been charged with damaging the pool as well.
Hearn was arrested 3 weeks ago as President Trump has repeatedly blamed vandals for the problems that have plagued the pool. Back here in Middle Tennessee, Hendersonville police are searching for the driver involved in a hit-and-run crash that left a 15-year-old pedestrian severely injured on Wednesday night. According to the Hendersonville Police Department, officers responded just before 11 p.m. Wednesday to Hendersonville Medical Center, where a 15-year-old was being treated for serious injuries after being struck by a vehicle. Officers began searching the area for the suspect vehicle. All they know is it's a dark-colored sedan. They're also obviously looking for the driver. Anyone with information about the crash, or maybe you've got surveillance footage, you can contact the Hendersonville Police Department. That is the latest news. Weather is on the way. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
It's 10:07 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. Those who sacrifice liberty for safety deserve neither. We'll talk about that in a second. Flock cameras. You guys want to talk about flock cameras?
Hate them.
Hate them. Hate them. Real quick, though, thank you to Congressman Burchett for coming on the show. A lot of people in the audience love Congressman Burchett. There's some pushback, too. I got a text here from Nelson who said, damn, he wrote a letter? Holy crap, man, that's crazy. Justice is coming for sure now. And I'm obviously reading into the sarcasm. I think there's sarcasm there. Now, is anything going to happen with the Seth Rich stuff? I don't know. I wish it would.
I hope so.
I wish it would. Burchett didn't sound too optimistic. But I wrote back. I was like, man, he's getting him on record. Like, yeah, okay. You want to knock him for only writing a letter? What other congressmen or women did anything? Oh, that's the list. Weird. I mean, can we give some credit where credit is due? He also confirmed that the president is well aware. I mean, who knows where this goes? But we do know that these trees that people are barking up, they get pretty dicey pretty quick. So I thank the congressman for all he's doing. I thank him for bringing it back in to the zeitgeist, if you will, the mass attention area. We need more attention. I wish that the American public was more aware, more up in arms, and more demanding of answers. But we aren't. We're apoplectic. So there's that. I mean, it sucks. I think Seth Rich is a patriot. I think Seth Rich is a hero. I am grateful for the sacrifice that he made to this country. And make no mistake about it, that was a sacrifice. But I'm also well aware that there's a whole other generation of Americans coming up behind me that have no idea who said this. And you can thank the left-wing mainstream media. You can thank the Democrats. And you can thank the deep staters for burying that story. I mean, there's probably, and you know what? Seth Rich probably isn't the only guy, right? There's probably like 1,000 more Seth Riches that I've never heard about, that you've never heard about. I mean, there are men that choose to do the right thing despite the outcomes, and we probably never hear their stories. So, again, I'm grateful for Seth Rich. I'm grateful for Congressman Burchett. I hope that he keeps pushing on this. I hope the FBI does the right thing. We'll see what happens. It's a story that we'll be following should any updates come about. You guys want to talk about flock cameras? Let's talk about flock cameras. 615-737-9986. So I'm against this stuff. Just full disclosure, I don't like it. I think that it is quickly going to bring us into a area where we are going to be monitored a la the CCP. I think that it'll bring us into a social credit system a la the CCP. Currently, the flock cameras are operating in over 12,000 communities in the country. They connect about 4,800 to 6,000 plus municipalities and law enforcement agencies across 49 states. Get this. Do you know how many vehicles are scanned a month via flock cameras? Over 20 billion. Over 20 billion. Flock owns the cameras. They install the cameras, they maintain the hardware, and customers, a la the city, the local governments, the municipalities, they pay subscription fees year after year to maintain and get access to the data. Now, there's some major privacy concerns with these flock cameras. And they've been making the news lately because a lot of patriots, I'll just say, are pissed off. And there's a guy that I like on X. I don't know if you've seen him, Matt Van Swol. He keeps posting these news stories, but he doesn't lean either way. He kind of just posts it and he goes, oh, it's happening again. And it's news stories like this. Flock cameras being ripped down. Now, I'm not going to sit here and advocate for you to vandalize property by any stretch of the imagination. That would be against the law. Okay? Is that a good disclaimer?
I think it's a good disclaimer.
That's against the law. I will say that when there were cameras in the UK Remember we talked about this, the ultra low emission zones, the ULEZ?
Yep.
That was if you had a car that was older than a certain age and you found yourself driving into London, these cameras were catching you, and they were then sending you a fine because your emissions were hurting the environment, obviously, you stupid bigot. So you had to pay a little bit more than the rest of the people. So you can't afford a new car, but yeah, here's a fine. I thought it was garbage. And there were some guys out there that became affectionately known as the Blade Runners that were running around and chopping those cameras down. And I celebrated that. I thought that they were patriots.
I mean, if somebody accidentally swerves their car to avoid a bunny in the street and happens to hit a flock camera, who says no?
The bunny has infinite more value.
Yeah.
Infinite more value. So this guy, Matt Van Swol on Twitter, again, I think Matt's a good guy. He got completely red-pilled when the hurricane hit western North Carolina and eastern Tennessee, and he saw the government's response under that. But he's just kind of been posting the stories. He hasn't really been given a take. And I think that tells me a lot. I think it tells me which way he's leaning. I don't think he's upset. But I see these stories, and I don't want to advocate for the destruction of private property here. But, you know, people be making choices. And in many communities, they're taking these cameras down.
Been cut down, completely sprayed over with an American flag on it. And not far away, there's another flock camera on the ground as well.
If you're not watching on Super Talk TV, you might have missed the amazing visual. Not only did they cut the camera down, they spray painted over the camera, and then they stabbed an American flag into it. So I think the message that they're trying to deliver is pro-Constitution, pro-freedom. I'm not trading liberty for safety.
Mm-hmm.
Does that feel, at least that's the message. I think that's the message they're trying to deliver.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't met any of these guys. I'd be open to it. Can we do those interviews where we change the voice and we black them out? Can we do that?
Sound like deep voice.
Do we have the capability to do that? There's deep voice Sean Connery.
That's kind of what you gave.
I could do a Sean Connery impression.
Oh yeah.
Save it for another day.
Another day, because we're talking flock.
You got to leave the people wanting more. So
got to come back.
So they cut down the flock camera, they spray painted it, and they stabbed an American flag into it. I'd be lying if I didn't think pretty cool. I'm not going to advocate for the destruction of private property, but if you're going to do it in a cool way. That's pretty cool. This was in Houston, Texas.
HPD says it's investigating this, but so far there are more questions than answers. These cameras, meant to help solve crimes, now becoming the target of one, both cut in half and covered in spray paint.
Yeah, I didn't realize that the cameras were there until you actually pointed that out.
This is one of the things that a lot of people don't realize. I didn't realize the cameras were even there. And I don't know, maybe you noticed them just popping up in your neighborhood because the Department of Homeland Security is granting grants, giving monies to all of these towns that decide to install them. So I'm driving around Murfreesboro, and all of a sudden I'm like, wow, I didn't realize in my little neighborhood that we needed a flock camera, but I guess we do. I guess we do. I didn't realize that on the corner, every corner, we needed a flock camera. Maybe I was wrong. How naive of me. But I don't recall being asked if we would like those. I don't recall a town meeting. I didn't recall a vote. They just kind of appeared overnight. And it seems like that's how it's been going everywhere. As Spar Houston owner Juan Rodriguez says, I didn't even know it was there. Nobody asked him either.
Juan Rodriguez's business, Spar Houston, is located by Washington Avenue and Westcott, where this happened. These are flock cameras, meant to read license plates and alert police if they're connected to crimes. Rodriguez says he didn't see who did this, but he's left wondering why they did.
I don't think you need to wonder why, actually. It was spray painted over and stabbed with an American flag. I think the why is pretty self-explanatory if you're keeping score at home. Now, yes, are they meant to read license plates and stop crimes? Sure. Okay. But the issues here that we have are the privacy concerns. Flock Safety's ALPR, the license plate reader cameras, center on mass surveillance, the warrantless tracking, the data sharing, the potential for abuse, and the Flock company argues that the system only captures public roadway data and helps solve crimes. But there's some critics that say the scale turns it into a powerful tool for monitoring innocent people's movements. And I can't help but find myself seeing videos that really raise your eyebrows. So if the fear is that they're monitoring movements, well, what kind of movements would they be wanting to monitor? Well, here's an interesting one. I found a video. Wall Street Apes on X has been all over this, and a lot of this content is coming from Wall Street Apes. I saw a video, right, where they installed a flock camera right outside an Academy Sports. Okay? I don't know if you know this, but Academy Sports sells firearms. Now, here's the interesting thing about this video. When they zoomed in on the camera, they noticed that it wasn't pointed towards the public roadways to read license plates. The camera was pointed towards the front door. Huh. That's interesting. Why would you need to point it towards the front door of a business that sells firearms?
Coincidence? I think not.
Listen, yes, we have a conservative government right now. How quickly could all of these cameras be turned against us? How quickly could we find ourselves in a utopian communist society where they're tracking our every movement and we have to deal with social credit scores? I mean, listen to this. It says, can anyone explain why they would have a flock camera watching everyone walk in and out of Academy? And it's a guy installing it. And yeah, it's pointed directly towards the front door.
Camera placement is especially suspicious because just take a look at this. Now, this is an outdoor store that sells guns. So it's very convenient to be putting one of these surveillance cameras out in front of a place that sells guns, almost like they can capture whoever is walking through the door, catalog them, and surveillance what's going on.
Now, here's the thing. It's like literally right outside the front door. If you're not watching on Super Talk TV, you're not getting the video aspect of this, but it is literally on the sidewalk. It's like it's as close to the sidewalk as it can be, essentially in the fire lane. Right? Is that a good description? I think that's a good description.
So again, we're being told that these cameras are license plate readers, but why is it being put here? Because I screenshot this and then I zoomed in and take a look. The camera is on the other side of the pole, which means it's facing right at the door of the building. So you take a look at this. They're not reading license plates. They're documenting who's going in and out of the store.
Huh. What could this be used for, you might ask? Maybe you're not as much of a conspiracy theorist as I am. Maybe your mind goes exactly to where mine goes. That they're cataloging you buying firearms. A private company with no oversight. It's a little weird, a little suspicious. This goes back to the privacy concerns. And when we talk about the Constitution, I have some issues with this. I have quite a few issues with this. And I'm not even halfway done yet. There has been documented cases where they are now going after American citizens, accusing them of crimes, and saying, you're guilty. We have you on camera. You have to prove your innocence. I thought it was the other way around in this country. I thought it was innocent until proven guilty. Is that still a thing? Is that still a thing? We're going to talk about this a lot more. You're welcome to join the conversation at 615-737-9986. It's 1022. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here to tell you about my friends at the Glock store. If these guys know how to do anything, it's to throw a hell of a party. Now, they are throwing another one on August 7th and August 8th. Okay? August 7th is the O-Site and Glock store VIP event. August 8th, open to the public. Anybody can show up. But the Friday event, let me tell you about that first. Exclusive access, limited availability. You check in from 9 to 11:30. The event starts at noon. You're going to have a meet and greet and pro photo shoot with featured guests like Short Shot Tony and Justine Williams. You're going to get a first look at pre-release O-Site optics. You're going to get hands-on range time with great guns and O-Site optics. You're going to get expert instruction in CCW tips and tactics, expert instruction in red dot install and bore sighting techniques, a catered lunch, and a VIP gift bag worth over $2,000, including a brand new O-Site optic. You can get tickets for that at glockstore.com/VIP. Then we have O-Site Day at the Glock store on Saturday, August 8th. That's all day long from 9 to 6. You'll get hands-on range time with new O-Site optics. You'll get in-store discounts on O-Site optics. There's going to be some great O-Site raffle giveaways, free O-Site swag while supplies last, and food trucks on site and ready to serve. So whatever it is, whether you want to go Friday for the VIP event, you want to go Saturday and chill with the homies, bring the whole crew, the Glock store is the place to be. Again, tickets for the Friday event, glockstore.com/VIP. And there's always something going on at the Glock store. Minutes from the airport, worth the drive from anywhere. Always open online, glockstore.com.
President Trump saying he's not going to sign that housing affordability bill. We'll fill you in. Also, Iran threatening the life of the president. And the hunt is on for a man accused of trying to run down Goodlettsville police officers. That's all coming up at the bottom of the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Jay Harper in the newsroom. My name is Chris Hand. The show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. You can listen to us on all the apps, the FM dial. You can watch us on YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. Hit like, hit subscribe. A lot of text coming in, 615-737-9986, and we welcome you to the Chris Hand Show. We enjoy your commentary. You guys are part of the vast staff, as Uncle Phil used to say, and I really do. I love the pushback. I don't want an echo chamber. You're welcome to call in. But I'm getting a lot of texts saying, doesn't Academy report the firearms purchases anyway? I mean, that's like if you're not doing anything illegal, you have nothing to hide argument. So we should be allowing a private company to track who's buying firearms in and out of the store, and we're just fine with that? I'll tell you something. I don't like the government tracking that either. So because the government does something I don't like, I should let a private company do it as well? Not really with it. Sorry. Sorry. It's not what I'm about, actually. So not a fan. Not a fan. We got more though. Maybe that doesn't bug you. You're like, everybody knows anyway. What's the big deal? Okay. You have a presumption of innocence, right? You're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty in this country, correct? You also have the Fourth Amendment, the right to the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated. You can make the argument that Flock violates it with their dragnet surveillance, their database of everyone's vehicle location over time without a warrant, without probable cause. When you bake AI into this as well, when you bake in your phone's Bluetooth thumbprint, they can track you everywhere. They know everywhere you're going, everything you're doing. And if they decide that you committed a crime, you are now guilty until proven innocent. And there are people that are being accused of being guilty that then have to prove their innocence. This is just the reality. I mean, you can argue with me and say it's not happening, but we have incidents of this happening. So there was a woman in Colorado. They had flock cameras in her friend's neighborhood, and this flock camera turned an innocent woman into a criminal, and she had to fight and prove her innocence. She was not presumed innocent until proven guilty. It was the exact opposite.
We have cameras everywhere in that town. You can't get a breath of fresh air in or out without us knowing.
I mean, does that not give you heartburn just for starters? That's a police officer out at her door. We have cameras everywhere in that town. You can't get a breath of fresh air or come in or out without us knowing. I'm sorry, not a fan. Not a fan at all. I'm going to play you more of this interaction between the police officer and this innocent woman who was told she committed a crime when we get back. It's 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
$10:30. I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. Stand by for that wet weekend forecast. In a social media post, President Trump says he's not going to sign that housing affordability bill that's due to become law tonight unless he vetoes it. ABC's Stephen Portnoy, he's got the latest from D.C.
The 21st Century Road to Housing Act would exempt certain projects from environmental reviews, expand financing for affordable housing, and restrict large institutional investors from owning more than 350 single-family homes. It passed in both houses with scant opposition, but President Trump says he won't sign it, quote, in protest of the Senate's refusal to pass the voter ID and citizenship requirements of the Save America Act. If he doesn't veto the bill by midnight, it will become law without his signature. That sort of thing hasn't happened in nearly a decade.
A new warning for President Trump during the final day of a 6-day funeral for Iran's former Ayatollah. ABC's Martha Raddatz reports.
Massive crowds mourned the slain leader, issuing a stark warning to President Trump, unfurling banners and threatening the president with death and offering a $100 million bounty. But technical talks about Iran's nuclear program are continuing. A U.S. official telling ABC that the United States is still committed to finding a resolution so Iran can never possess a nuclear weapon.
Well, Chris has been talking about cameras. Well, here's a story about them. The Goodlettsville Police Department looking for a potentially armed and dangerous man after he violently fled a traffic stop here this morning. Goodlettsville police reported that the town's license plate readers pinged a stolen black Jaguar vehicle at about 12:30 this morning. and that set off a search. The Jag was tracked to an apartment complex, and police tried to intercept the vehicle, which was being driven by 30-year-old Jordan Termaine Barbee. Barbee has allegedly, according to police, slammed his vehicle into the police cars and then took off. Goodlettsville police, they chased him, and 2 responding officers, they were reportedly involved in a separate crash while chasing this man. They sustained some injuries. They were taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Goodlettsville police believe that there was a gun in this vehicle when it was stolen, so they are considering Barbee to be armed and dangerous. He is described as a black man, 5'7" and about 230 pounds. Turns out he's got an extensive criminal history, including active warrants in Robertson and Montgomery counties. If anybody knows this fellow's whereabouts, don't approach him. Just call 911. That is the latest news. Let's get that weekend forecast to you. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
We have cameras everywhere in that town. You can't get a breath of fresh air in or out without us knowing.
Chrisana Elzer learned the power of Flock firsthand.
You were in town from 11:52 until 12:09.
That's
exactly. Like I said, nothing gets in or out of the town without us knowing.
When a Colorado police officer showed up at her door holding Flock snapshots of her truck.
And here's when you left at 12:09. That's when you left town.
To get.
No, to stop at Ridge Trail.
Wait a minute.
And take a package.
So this woman in Colorado gets a knock on the door from a very adamant police officer and says, you were in the Ridge Trail area and you were doing porch pirate activities. Huh. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. So this woman had to prove she wasn't guilty because this cop is 100% sure she's guilty. Listen to this interaction.
Well, there's no shushing. I don't need to be.
I need to know where this is.
The first thing he pulled out on the body cam is that Flock picture, the clear photograph of your car.
But here's your vehicle in the neighborhood many, many times, apparently casing houses, because you just can't drive through for work or visit other businesses. You can only be casing houses.
It is her. It is 100%. It is locked in. There is zero doubt.
Zero doubt. 100% locked in. Zero doubt. Okay, get ready. It gets pretty interesting from here.
I wouldn't have come here unless I was 100% sure.
100%.
100%. It is certain. It is on video. You're obviously welcome to go to court.
Chrisana was charged with stealing a package, but it wasn't her. The porch pirate was somebody else.
Oh, weird. I thought that it was 100% her. So this poor woman is all of a sudden a criminal in the eyes of the law. You're welcome to go to court. Yep. Yeah, that's not an issue. That's not an issue.
Multiple times you tried to show him your video evidence. He didn't want to see it.
Even when I called him back, he said, that's not my job.
You looked at a time of a crime. You saw my vehicle entering in the Flock.
No, what I did was I did an investigation.
You called my wife a liar. You said this is fact.
I have video evidence. I don't know what you want me to say.
The charges were dropped after Chrisana spent weeks trying to get the police chief to look at her evidence. Time-stamped video from her truck and a neighbor's doorbell camera showing she wasn't at the scene of the crime.
I'm sorry. I thought that was 100%. I thought this was 100% accurate. No doubt. That cop wouldn't have been there if it wasn't her stealing the packages. Am I the only one seeing an issue with this? It's just me?
Hate it.
I hate it. I hate it so much. Oh, well, Chris, what about all the criminals that they've stopped? Okay. Cool. So if criminals were never stopped before these cameras were installed. We didn't catch any criminals before we had Flock cameras? None? None. Zero. Okay. If that's your argument, if you got nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear, I would say, yeah, well, I think that lady would beg to differ. I think she would absolutely beg to differ. And the drip, drip, drip on this is an issue because everybody's going to get used to these and then it'll evolve and they'll be 20, 30 years down the road. Our kids won't know a life without them. And they are going to slowly move us into a CCP-style social credit system. Now just follow me. Remember when we had the push for vaccine passports? What happens if they know you haven't been to a clinic to get vaccinated because every camera in town watches your car move everywhere and they say, well, you're not social distancing enough. We know you haven't been vaccinated.
Where's your mask?
Where's your mask? You're making people unsafe. Oh, that would never happen, except for the fact that it happened in Australia during COVID. Oh, that would never happen here. You don't think Joe Biden would have taken advantage of this system, or Kamala Harris, or some of these radical communist Democrats that were getting into office? You don't think that they would take advantage of this system given the opportunity? Am I the only one that sees the issue here? People are like, you're proving the Nashville City Council correct on traffic cameras. I don't care. What's right is right. And these cameras being installed are wrong. And if you can't see how they could be weaponized against the general public, then you're missing the plot. There was a 6-year-old kid during COVID who didn't have his vaccine passport and was forced out of a pizza restaurant. A 6-year-old child. So you're telling me that they would never take it that far? I don't believe it. I just don't. Drip, 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 waterfall. 5564 said it's the frog in the boiling pot analogy. Those who sacrifice liberty for temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety. Your safety should be your own responsibility, for starters. The safety of your family should be your responsibility, for starters. Oh, how could we have solved crimes without this stuff? Is it cops doing cop work? I'm not saying that there isn't an advantage to a license plate reader, but I will say the license plate readers aren't infallible, and there's other cases like that. So this was in Minnesota. There's a guy who gets pulled over, right? His license plate flagged the cameras and said he had a stolen vehicle.
Can you come out to me, please? Sure. Yes. Oh.
So the cop is like, come out to me. The guy's getting out of his car with his hands up. He's like, yeah, what's going on?
Okay, is this your car?
It's complicated. Can I explain it?
You can explain it, yes.
I review cars for a living. I fly around the world and review cars. I have a different car every single week.
The reason you have 4 cops here is because your license plate is registered as stolen license plates in our system.
Are you serious?
That's why Flock has been reading it, because it's popping up as a stolen plate. Okay.
Got it. So this was picked up somewhere by Flock. The cameras that read my license plate now twice in the last couple of days, and it picked up and flagged it for the cops. You guys have been searching for this car. Unreal.
So here's.
There's no issue with that either. What are we doing? What are we doing? Sharon in the borough, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. What do you got?
Good morning.
Good morning. What do you think?
Okay. I think this is just like the data centers popping up everywhere, because the data centers are going to be the ones processing all this stuff, all the Big Brother stuff, and tracking everything we do, everything, everywhere.
We are tiptoeing into a surveillance state, and we need to make noise about it, or our kids and grandkids are going to be the ones dealing with it. And at that point, it's going to be too far gone.
Exactly. And speaking of data centers, I hate to bring this up, but I have a bone to pick with you about something you said yesterday.
Was it my anti-zoo take?
Marsha Blackburn is for pushing the data centers. She loves them. She says she's behind it.
Yep.
So I have big issues with that. And another reason I don't like Marsha Blackburn, many other reasons too, but I do have to bring up, yes, I think it was yesterday, you were comparing Marsha not debating the other candidates for the governor seat to Trump not debating. But that's not really fair, and I'll tell you why. Because Trump had already been president before, and he did debate the first time. He debated all the other candidates the first time he ran for president, which was great, which was what should have been done. But since he'd already been president once, it's like, if you apply for a job and you interview, which that's what it is, you're doing an interview, and where we can compare with other candidates. The first time you need to do that. The second time, probably not. So Trump was right that he didn't interview the second time because he'd already been there.
My comparison was based on the strategy. You know, when you're ahead in the polling, you can only lose. I mean, and to be fair, I'm voting for Monty Fritz in the primary, and then I'll support whoever the Republican nominee is.
Mm-hmm. Well, I understand, but I guess I was just thinking that it's kind of not fair, though, to compare apples to oranges, you know, because Marsha's never been governor before. She's barely been a senator. So I really feel like she needs to get out there and debate.
Tell us how you really feel. I'm here for it, Sharon. I want the debate as much as anybody else. Don't get my words twisted. I was just giving her. I'm not going to be too hard on the strategy because at least I understand it politically.
Yeah, well, I think you guys are all too soft on her on this station. I'm just saying. That's my opinion.
All right.
Way too soft on her.
I made fun of the fortune cookie ad. Hey, I appreciate the call. I appreciate the call as always, Sharon. Thank you so much.
Okay, have a great day. Bye.
You too. Back on the flock cameras. You know, when you're talking about the mass surveillance state, there are privacy issues. There are documented misuse by police. Documented cases include officers using the system to stalk ex-partners or personal targets, targeting protesters or critics. Now, you might say, well, they're looking at Antifa. They're looking at these Hamas protesters. And I would just say that while that may be true, how quickly it could turn on us. We were out there protesting the COVID lockdowns during 2020. There was big protests in the state of Michigan. You don't think a Democratic governor in the state of Michigan wouldn't use those flock cameras to track every conservative that's at those protests? I mean, listen, we can be fair here and say, do police work instead of having this Terminator-style surveillance system that's going to lead to the downfall of the country. Can we be fair? Can we at least acknowledge how this could be used against conservative and weaponized against conservatives in the near or very near future? And if you don't think it can, I think you need to take like real accountability or real time for reflection on this. There are absolutely been documented cases of wrongful arrests and stops due to errors. They are taking away your presumption of innocent until proven guilty with these cameras. And we need to push back on it. The argument of, well, if they're going after the other side, it's fine. It's only going to be fine for so long. We have to be honest with ourselves here. We have to. The camera locations are not publicly disclosed. Flock's CEO has called the public request for the locations terroristic. So if you want to know where these cameras are, you might be a terrorist. Weird. Flock has also been accused of changing contract terms to give itself more control over customer data, perpetual rights to use data even after the contract ends. There's issues about the data retention and the company control. The default retention is often set at 30 days, but they say agencies keep data longer. The data lives in Flock's cloud. Recent contract changes have raised concerns to Flock's that Flock retains broad rights to the data. I mean, the other issues are the error rates, the private installations, and more. Flock responds that they don't use facial recognition, that only public roadway data is captured, which we just pointed out with the Academy Sports. That is false. Local agencies control access policies and retention. Every search is logged and auditable, and the technology helps locate missing people and solve serious crimes. That's Flock's response. Okay. I'm just warning you. This can and will be used against conservatives in the future. And we only have to look back just a few years to see how quickly a tyrannical government can be weaponized against conservative patriots in this country. It's not ancient history. Don't forget everything you learned during COVID. Don't forget the censorship. Don't forget that they called you terrorists. Don't forget that they called mom and dads at school board meetings terrorists. Don't forget that they called people protesting abortion centers terrorists. And then game plan this out as to where technology like this goes if we let it continue to flood the country unchecked. You can say I'm a conspiracy theorist. You can say that these solve a lot of crimes and it's worth the risk. And I would just say, I don't agree with that. It's 10:53. If you agree or you're wrong, you're welcome to call into the show. 615-737-9986. It's 10:53. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis from Super Talk 99.7 WTN and Nashville's Morning News. I'm here with Chris from USS, United Structural Systems. He's checking out my basement, my foundation, my crawl space to see if there's anything wrong. Fingers crossed. All right, so there's good news and there's bad news. The bad news is we found some cracks in my basement wall. The good news, I've got Chris here who's going to walk me through the next steps.
Yes, so unfortunately, your house has been subject to the pressure of the dirt. The hydrostatic pressure, heavy dirt pushes on foundation walls, and you've got a little bit of what we call bowing. So that wall is pushed in a little bit. We have a lifetime warranty solution for that. So we install, usually in a day or two, this can be done in most situations. We install carbon fiber straps, which keep the wall from moving inward at any point in the future. It's a lifetime warranty for anybody that ever owns this house. So it's a quick and routine thing that we do, but it yields some long-lasting benefits.
It's a great selling point if you want to sell your house.
Absolutely. Good thing about our warranties is they're not only transferable, like the contract says, they're automatically transferred when you sell your house. So you don't have to sign any paperwork or even send us an email saying that you sold your house. Warranty would transfer to the next owner.
Yesterday in your Truth Social, you called the Iranians crazy bastards.
True.
What is your response to critics who say that
I don't care about critics.
What is your response to critics who say that it is your mental health that should perhaps be examined as this war continues?
I haven't heard that. But if that's the case, you're going to have more people like me, because our country was being ripped off on trade, on everything, for many years until I came along. So if that's the case, you're going to have more people.
Drivers, right now, we got stuff in the way, especially if you're westbound 24 trying to get to Clarksville. There is a 41-minute delay on the way due to a crash blocking the left lane there in Jolton. In Murfreesboro, we got a crash. Left shoulder block 24 westbound before Joby Jackson Parkway. We're under threat of flooding and a low risk of severe weather today and the entire weekend. And some cannabis moms have gone viral. Tell you about it at 11 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Cannabis moms are better than wine moms. Just letting you know.
It's a little calmer.
It's 10:58. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. The show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. We're talking about flock cameras, and people are mad at me because I don't like them. I got one text here, 38.99. This is I like. First, let me just read the text and then I'll respond. He said, "Your compatriots on the station kept yelling they wanted the cameras and we were wrong to oppose them. So address it or shut up, because you just use this as a division point, saying one thing then the other." Do you think we all sit in a room in the morning and like come up with our takes together? Am I not allowed to disagree with other hosts on the station? Are they not allowed to disagree with me?
It might be something you should take up in the next 12:30 at night meeting you guys have before Dan's show.
We meet, we light, and it's in a dark room with candles, and there's we pledge our allegiance to the Illuminati, and we get all of our takes. No, but I said I'm a singular person. I have my own opinions here, and I expect and respect that the other guys are going to have their own opinions. There is no hive mind at WTN. My opinions are my own. And I don't base my takes off what anybody else says. I am a grown man who thinks for himself. And if any of the other guys disagree with my take, like, come at me, bro. Like, I'm here for it. I love good conversation. And I love the other guys. So deal with it. Hey, Billy, Brian, Carrie, you guys all want to weigh in on flock cameras? We're going to take your calls when we get back. Hang on the line, please. I'm in it for this conversation. It's 11 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Eleven o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Again, drivers, it is a 43-minute delay westbound 24 through Jolton because you've got the left lane blocked by a crash. We're under threat of flooding and a low risk of severe weather today and the entire weekend. Been a rough week of weather elsewhere. Here's Morgan Norwood.
Millions in the path of severe storms and thousands of flights delayed or canceled as wicked weather wallops the East Coast. Torrential rain and flash flooding swallowing parts of central New Jersey. Up to 3 inches of rain falling an hour, inundating roads, making many of them impassable. Drivers caught off guard, stranded in the high waters. Several people had to be rescued.
Yeah, forecasters say 12 inches fell in Iron County, Missouri in only 7 hours, which created a flash flood emergency. Well, if a dinner party or a rainy cookout is on your weekend agenda, you'll want to take extra care to avoid a parasite that's making life miserable for people in Tennessee and at least 17 other states. Here's ABC's Jim Ryan.
The CDC is trying to trace the source of the cyclosporiasis that has sickened over 1,000 people in Michigan alone, but with cases reported in 17 more states. The best way to avoid the fatigue, stomach cramps, and severe diarrhea that comes with cyclosporiasis is to thoroughly wash your hands before preparing food and to thoroughly wash the fresh produce you're preparing.
Yeah, the outbreak has at least one fast food chain, Taco Bell, pulling tomatoes, lettuce, cilantro, and raw onions from its menu in hard-hit Michigan. Cannabis mom videos going viral. Addiction experts weighing in. ABC News chief medical correspondent Dr. Tara Narula spoke to a so-called garden mom.
We're using this as a tool.
Texas mom of two and content creator Rachel Gibbs says cannabis doesn't check her out of motherhood, but rather helps her to check in and quiet the static in her head. And she says its impact on parenting her 3- and 5-year-old kids has been tremendous.
I can get down on their level. I have more patience. It's calmed the nerves down.
Videos tagged by so-called Canna Moms or Garden Moms have racked up millions of views across social media. Addiction specialists suggest it shouldn't be thought of as a harmless alternative to alcohol.
In a social media post, President Trump says he's not going to sign the housing affordability bill that's due to become law tonight unless he vetoes it, but there's no sign that he's going to veto it. ABC News national correspondent Stephen Portnoy.
The 21st Century Road to Housing Act would exempt certain projects from environmental reviews, expand financing for affordable housing, and restrict large institutional investors from owning more than 350 single-family homes. It passed in both houses with scant opposition, but President Trump says he won't sign it, quote, in protest of the Senate's refusal to pass the voter ID and citizenship requirements of the Save America Act. If he doesn't veto the bill by midnight, it will become law without his signature. That sort of thing hasn't happened in nearly a decade.
That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Six minutes past the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? I'm Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. We're on the apps, iHeartRadio, TuneIn. We're on the FM dial. You can watch us on YouTube. That's on, Super Talk TV. That's on YouTube and Rumble. I skipped a step. I went straight to YouTube. Hit like. Just do that wherever you're at.
And subscribe.
And if you're doing old school radio, just hold the number 1 until it blinks at you.
Or your select button, then press 1.
Yeah, one of those things. All right, so we are talking flock cameras. We're going to take your calls on this. Billy, Brian, Carrie, all waiting to weigh in. But real quick, because I was responding to text during Ken Weaver's newscast. My apologies. I try not to miss them. You miss a little, you miss a lot. But I got a text here from 4702 said, Chris, did the cannabis mom say it calms the kids down? No crap, lady. They're now smelling how colors taste. Did they say that they're giving cannabis to kids?
No, she says it calms the static in her head.
Okay. I was like, I missed that completely as I was like, cannabis moms are better than wine moms. And then I was like, oh, crap. Did they say they were giving it to the kids?
All right, kiddos, time for your brownies.
It's going to be nap time in about 25 minutes. That's all I know. You want to weigh in on flock cameras? 615-737-9986. Let's start with our friend Carrie in Nashville. What's up, Carrie? Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me on. So I want to say, first off, I am so excited you're a Monty fan. I'm out putting the signs out as we speak.
Let's go. The Monty sign people are legit. I don't know if you know this.
Yes.
You guys are like responding within like 20 minutes to people that want signs.
Yeah, we're all on it because it's never Marsha, never John. I'm like, when you side with pharmaceutical companies over farmers and all the other things I could get into, but I won't because we're here for flock cameras. But
let's talk flock. Let's talk flock. What's your opinion?
So my opinion is I think it's totally a CCP thing, hands down. I saw a video of a guy that was a police officer, I believe in Rhode Island, and he said something wasn't adding up about these cameras. And he started doing some digging and was finding out that they were actually surveillance. And he went to, I want to say his chief or whoever his authority was, and they told him that he needed to mind his business, and he didn't know what he was talking about. He kept digging, and they told him that the best thing he could do was resign or he was going to lose his job. He resigned and had to sign a gag order. Now, why would you have to sign a gag order if these were only to get fraudulent or stolen cars, whatever they want to say it's for? You know, it just doesn't add up. And I've passed, I don't know how many of them going through Mount Juliet. It's ridiculous.
You said that police officer was from Rhode Island?
I think it was Rhode Island. It was up north.
Yep. I actually have it here. And I'll play it, Carrie. And I appreciate your call. Thank you for weighing in. You're absolutely right. So this is a police officer in Rhode Island who's becoming a whistleblower on the flock cameras. And he's not exactly impressed. He's like, I don't know how many people are going to see this. I don't really do social media, but I got to speak up.
Hello, everyone. My name is Noel Pichardo. I'm a ex-cop here in the state of Rhode Island. Why I'm regrettably an ex-police officer is part of the reason why I'm doing one of the strangest things I've ever done, which is talking in front of a camera, in order to inform you all about a concerning trend that's been steadily rising in my state and other states across the country. So in 2021, 2022, my city, the city of Pawtucket, the police department I was a part of, along with other departments in my state, started quietly signing contracts with this new technology called Flock Camera. It's a surveillance system company run by a man named Garrett Langley. He's the CEO and founder of that company. Basically, it's a very sophisticated AI software that uses a camera system to track and monitor every vehicle that goes by the camera lens.
So if you're not watching on Super Talk TV, there's a screenshot here, right? And I'm assuming this is from the Flock website because that was the other screenshot that they were showing. So I think this is another screenshot from the Flock website, and it has a car there and it has the camera, and it says vehicle type, color, unique alterations, license plate, frequent visitor. This is what people don't understand. With the AI paired, they're identifying things down to which NFL team sticker is on the back of your car, how often you're in that neighborhood. All sorts of data that can be compiled on you because of it. It's crazy.
Uses a camera system to track and monitor every vehicle that goes by the camera lens. You know, it doesn't require a violation. It doesn't require any infraction. It only requires movement. That's it. And it records the make, the model, color, bumper stickers, you name it, of the vehicle that goes by every single one of these camera lenses. They're quite discreet. If you don't know what they are, you won't be able to spot them out. They're basically put on utility poles at the main intersections in your city if you have them. So to put it bluntly, you know, if you own a car, you're now being tracked. If I could put it plainly, for committing the sin of going to work. This information is shared city to city and even state to state without a warrant. There's no legislation governing this technology. Well, specifically referring to my state, which doesn't have any legislation governing this technology, even though it's been in use for about 4 years now. And if you're still watching this video, I'm assuming your temper is starting to flare up because it's probably the first time you're hearing about this. which I think is the worst thing about this, in my opinion, is that you, the American citizen, was never notified about this innovation, nor its implementation.
I mean, that's one of the things that bugs me. Now, I know that this audience is pretty up to speed on a lot of things, so it's probably not the first time that you're hearing about these flock cameras. But there was one other piece of this interview, and then we'll get to Billy and Brian, that I thought was pretty on the nose, where he warns that this is slow walking us towards communism, and this isn't like one of those it's the most important election ever kind of warnings. Like we're seeing actual communists get elected in this country, and this needs to be paid attention to, because this could be weaponized against us should these democratic socialists ever decide to get into power. And again, you don't have to look any further than just a few years ago with what we saw during COVID to know how they may or may not use this stuff against us should another tyrannical regime get in power.
This innovation is already proven to be rotten. It's grounded on this idea that you, the citizen, are first and foremost a potential suspect or potential defendant that needs to be tracked and monitored for your safety and for the safety of others. It's the same philosophy that the Soviets and many authoritarian states during the 20th century adopted, and we all know how that worked out for them.
It's not good. Not good. Billy on the road. What's up, man? How are you?
Hey, man. Thanks for taking my call.
Absolutely. Thanks for holding.
I'm 1,000% against this. And I can tell you, I already got a taste of it. I'm a truck driver, like most trucking companies now. They got cameras. Every company sells it to you. We're not watching you. We're not listening to your conversation. We don't care about that. You've only been recorded if you set the camera off. A hard brake, harsh tone. You're doing something that the camera takes. It catches you on your phone, whatever. But I can give you 100 examples. The one I'll just give you a couple real quick. When dispatch calls, one day it was like, I guess you're a Trump supporter, huh? I'm like, why would you say that? We never talk about politics. What makes you think that? He said, well, because I always hear listen to you on talk radio, listening to talk radio. I'm like, why are you listening to me on talk radio? Why is the camera even activated? Y'all are not supposed to be listening to me. Well, that's how y'all sold it. We're not watching you. We're not trying to catch you doing nothing. I'm like, and that's just one of 1,000. And ironically, as I was waiting on the phone with you, my dispatch here at this company, I actually like him. He's a good guy. He just sent me a bunch of videos. Well, where did you learn how to dance at? Joking about my dancing because I'm going on the road and I'm listening to music, flipping when y'all go to commercial, listening to music, and I'm over there, I'm jamming out, and he's watching me. They're watching me all the time.
I mean, and to your point, it's like that's how slippery the slope is, right?
Exactly. That's my point. That's what they're supposed to do. I was with a company once before, about 2-3 years ago, and I got pulled over by a state trooper, and for no reason, I didn't get a ticket. I didn't get no citations. I had a conversation with the state trooper, and I didn't get nothing. But I did have a conversation about my company and how my dispatch is, it's a shady company. I said all these bad things about the company. I wasn't happy with being with the company. I got back. I got fired. So I was like, well, you got pulled over. How do you know I got pulled over? I didn't get no ticket. I didn't get no citation. You're not supposed to be looking to the camera. So what exactly am I doing? Well, you got stopped, and so we're just going to let you go. Well, okay.
That's crazy.
I'm sure things that I said on the camera that he probably just didn't like personally,
and he was looking for a reason.
Or whatever.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah, Billy, man, I appreciate the call, and to your point, the slippery slope is real. This is how things always start, right? Remember, they told us that gay people just wanted to get married. They didn't want to indoctrinate your kids, and now we still have drag queen story hour in this country. I mean, the slippery slope people, they tend to be right. Brian in Charlotte, he is anti-flock. What's up, Brian?
Hey, what's going on, Chris?
Give me your take, Brian.
Okay, well, we already have an infusion center. I mean, I think you probably know that. Everything you do is going through the infusion center in Nashville. But, I mean, I just watched a video on a young lady. I think it was Maine. She's got the cops at her door, and they're questioning her because she was caught on a flock camera driving through a neighborhood.
Yep.
And their concern was that she was there a lot and she had out-of-county tags. And what she was explaining was it's a shortcut to work. You know what I mean? And I just found that so odd that they would be on her doorstep You know what I mean? Investigating something like that.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, like, you know, where else does that lead? You know, and I just find it, you know, like you said, it's kind of Bolshevik, you know, in nature, you know, and what happens later on, you know, when someone bad really wants to use that against you, you know, like a FISA court, you know what I'm saying?
Yep, 100%. And it's messy, man. It is absolutely messy.
No, it's really messy. Like you said, it's going to be a really bad slippery slope because, I mean, the data centers, all that's going into the data centers, and the more data center support they get, the bigger electric fence that we'll all have.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I appreciate the call, Brian. Thank you. I mean, I guess the issue here is that it's going to be misused. And people will say, well, you already have a phone. You already drive a car with a computer in it, and that's sending the data back to the car manufacturer. You're already being logged and tracked everywhere you go. So is your argument that I should bend over and take more? Is that the actual argument here? Because I can ditch the phone. I can buy an older car. I can work around those things if I don't want it. But I can't work around public streets. I can't work around this dragnet surveillance system. So what is this? Michael in Fairview. What's up, man? How are you?
Good.
What do you got, sir?
So I use Flock system every day for work. I'm in law enforcement investigations. And I think people are what they're calling tracking is being misconstrued in a way. So the Flock cameras, they take a still image of the car as it passes through an intersection or roadway, wherever the camera may be. But it doesn't track you. Like, trust me, if we were able to use that technology to track a vehicle everywhere it went, it'd be a totally different system, right? So we use this system to see what cars have come through a certain area, a certain intersection. But if we want to track the actual full-time live action tracking of a vehicle, yeah, that's something that we have to obtain a warrant through, the judicial process.
But if you look on Flock's own website, it tells you how they can identify bumper stickers, license plate, off-market parts, how often you're in the neighborhood, if you're a frequent visitor, if you're an infrequent visitor. So when you game plan this out, you can understand how this technology could evolve and be misused. So like that is the slippery slope where today it might not be being misused by an officer like you in Fairview, but in a year or two, it could absolutely be misused. And by that point, there's cameras on every single corner. And to your point, officer, with all due respect, I mean, there's already documented cases where police officers, and it's not everybody, but there's already documented cases where police officers are using this to stalk ex-partners. Police officers are using this to track individuals. So while you may not be doing it, it doesn't mean that the opportunity isn't there.
Yeah, I think the word track is a lot different than like if we use say my family, we have Live 360 on our phones, right? So we can see where our phones are at any time. So I can see and I can watch my family's phones while they're driving, right? But the Flock cameras, they simply take a photo at that particular spot and date and time, right? It's just like what we've always had at toll bridges up north. We don't have them here in Tennessee per se, but up north or down in Florida, toll bridges take photos of your license plate as you go through, and that's how they pay the tolls. So, but to your point too about the bumper stickers and things like that. So say we get a vehicle that's got a swap tag, or we got a suspect that swap tags on a particular vehicle, but that vehicle has a very particular identifying feature to that vehicle. We can type that in and do a query, and that way make, model, color, with a particular sticker or image on the back window or front window, front license plate, whatever it may be, and try to narrow it down that way. It's just another way that we can identify vehicles and try to track down criminals.
But it's just
thing, and it might have been a part what you guys just talked about before I got on the phone with you, but talking about phones, I mean, if you don't want to be tracked, I mean, our cell phones are tracking us everywhere we want to go, whether we use it or not.
Yeah, but it's very easy to say that it's not being done, but you could absolutely understand how artificial intelligence could build a report on an individual and based on their current schedule predict where they're going to be on any given day at any given time.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. That could, that AI could probably come up with a report like that. Sure.
And we do know that AI is baked into the cake when it comes to the flock cameras, correct?
Yes, the images are utilizing AI to detect the color of the vehicle.
That's the argument against them. It's the slippery slope and where this goes and what it leads to for our children and our grandchildren. Because we already see how these kind of same cameras are being employed in communist countries like China and how they're being used for the social credit system and things of that nature. So it's not hard to follow the yellow brick road to where the end result could be, correct?
Oh, yeah, and I'll take one further than even flock. So there's businesses and buildings that you walk into, such as the airports, that are utilizing AI cameras you can type in, okay, white male, blue t-shirt, blue jeans, red shoes. And it will track your movements all through the airport. It will take out everyone that is not wearing those things or does not fall into those features that you filtered to track your personal movements, not your vehicle, but the actual person everywhere that they go.
And so
like, it's not,
So when you
flock cameras.
But when you know that technology's there, it's like now you do it in a big city, and the technology's built into the hardware. I mean, it's built into the firmware. Like, you absolutely could follow somebody around a major city. Just based on suspicion.
It'd be very difficult to just utilizing flock.
Maybe today, but as the infrastructure expands and the technology gets better, and we've seen how fast AI is getting better, we could be there in a year. And this is why we need to have the fight now. But this is why we need to have the fight now while they're putting those cameras up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm not going to say that's impossible because, like you said, AI is moving at an extremely rapid pace that somebody in legislation and some level has got to regulate it, right?
Yeah.
But how do you, once you open that cap, how you put that cap back on? Man, I don't know.
Well, and that's the issue, and that's why I think that today is the day to have this fight, not in a year when we realize it's being misused. Hey, Mike, I'm up against it, man. I do appreciate the conversation. I appreciate what you do. Stay safe out there. God bless. It's 11:26. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
11:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Drivers, we still have a crash blocking the right two lanes of 24 westbound just past Spring Street, Ellington Parkway. Then in Murfreesboro, we got a crash left shoulder block 24 westbound before Joe B. Jackson. We're tracking the potential for severe storms and flash flooding today and the entire weekend, and not just here in Middle Tennessee.
Many of these go through the weekend, and so all the way up to Pittsburgh, much of West Virginia, into southern Ohio and eastern Kentucky, well, the entire state of Kentucky under flood watch. We're not only going to have the flash flooding potential, but also some damaging winds.
Yeah, highest risk for Middle Tennessee is tomorrow. Got the full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. Right now in Middle Tennessee, Goodlettsville police looking for 30-year-old Jordan Termaine Barbie after a pursuit involving a stolen vehicle this morning. Investigators say Barbie was driving a stolen black Jaguar XF that was detected by the city's license plate reader system. Police say he rammed a patrol vehicle when officers attempted a traffic stop. Then he took off. They say he injured 2 officers. Authorities consider Barbie armed and dangerous. They're urging the public not to approach him. Barbie's described as a black man, 5'7" tall, about 230 pounds. He has an extensive criminal history, including active warrants in Robertson and Montgomery counties. Tyler Robinson's week-long preliminary hearing in the murder case of Turning Point USA founder Charlie Kirk's wrapping up in Provo, Utah. ABC's Kana Whitworth has more from yesterday's proceedings.
Agent Davis, an investigator, reading text messages between the two.
Tyler says, I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out. I am sorry to involve you. And then Lance replies, you weren't the one who did it, right? And Tyler says, I am, I'm sorry.
Robinson turning himself in 33 hours after the shooting.
So Judge Tony Graff's deciding by September 1st whether or not this goes to trial. Prosecutors are seeking the death penalty. Governor Lee says Tennessee will not change its execution protocol after a failed execution attempt in May. Medical staff were unable to find a vein for death row inmate Tony Carruthers, and the governor halted the procedure. The governor says prison officials followed established procedures and upcoming executions will move forward as scheduled. Attorneys for death row inmate Darrell Hines are now seeking a delay of his August execution. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for my friend Aaron Parker over at Parker Safes and Vaults. A lot of people know they need a safe, but they got some questions and they need answers. We'll talk to my friend Aaron Parker over at Parker Safes and Vaults. It's a veteran-owned, Christian, family-run business, and these guys are the absolute best. We got a ton of safes in stock at Parker Safes and Vaults. Great deals right now. From safes that are real safes, not big box store cabinets that can be tipped over and pried open by any old teenager. No. Real safes from brands like American Security, Rhino, Liberty, Heyman, and more. Think about the things in your house that you want to protect. The family photo albums, the important documents, the firearms, the guitars, the guns. You need to protect them with a real safe. You get a real safe at Parker Safes and Vaults. Don't put it off any longer. 931-842-6445. 931-842-6445. You can find video reviews of safes that they have in stock on their YouTube page. Search Parker Safes, or you can go to the website, parkersafes.com. 37 minutes past the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. The show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. We've been talking about flock cameras. We do have some lightning round stuff on the way, but I got a couple people that have been waiting to call in, or waiting to discuss this. They called in, not waiting to call in. They called in. Aaron, Bobby, Jackson. We'll go through these calls, and then we'll get to the lightning round. Does that sound good? Everybody cool with that? I don't want to shut any people down, especially when they've been holding for like 10 minutes. Let's start with Bobby in Nashville. What's up, Bobby?
Hey, this is probably the most intelligent subject you've had on your show in a while. But
that feels like a backhanded compliment, Bobby. We talk.
You know, when you have Marshall Blackburn on there, I mean, come on.
When did I? Well, that was months ago. That was months ago. All right, keep going. Well, we'll put that aside. Okay. Give me your take on flock cameras.
Okay. They can use the flock cameras to track vehicles, and I'll tell you how they do it. I know I've seen it, and I know it for a fact. And I'll give you an example. Somebody goes in and shoplifts at Lowe's. They will go in and they'll put that tag number if they have it, and they can tell you every flock camera that it hit, and they will track that vehicle to every Lowe's that they've been to, and then they will go in and they'll investigate with the Lowe's camera system, security system, and they will say, this car was here on this date, this person was driving it, this is what they wore at the Lowe's in Madison, and they will go and they will run the security camera system at Lowe's, and guess what? There's that person in there shoplifting, so there's another charge. So they do track people with that, and what is sad is that the police officer, with all due respect that was on earlier, they are the least informed or the last informed of what's actually going on, because nobody's being told the truth about these.
Well, and it's all compartmentalized, right? It's on a need to know basis. I was trying to be as respectful as I could with the officer, but I disagree with a lot of his points.
Mm-hmm. All I will say is, remember Schwarzenegger in Running Man? What did they do to him in Running Man?
Yep, exactly. Hey, Bobby, I appreciate the call, man. Thanks so much. I got a text here from 5744 when we were talking about the police officer, and he said, we don't track people, and 5744 said you track in hunting, not in live time. But you track tracks to eventually find the animal. Tracking is tracking. Just because it's not live time doesn't mean it isn't. Exactly. Let's go to Jackson in Shelbyville. What's up, Jackson?
Hey, good morning.
What's up?
I'm kind of curious. Who do you use for a search engine?
I prefer DuckDuckGo.
Very good. So I'm grateful to hear that, and a lot of people that are listening to our conversation now should pay attention to what I have to say. Google subscribes with people like a lot of weather apps, traffic apps, and things like that. Google, just to give you an idea, they're looking for 31 features on your phone typically. So looking at what Google really wants. They look for your network carrier. I'll just give you a few: your postal code, your app name that you're on, your Android advertising ID. It could be another type of phone, but your unique identifier, the state you live in, your CPU data. That's pretty critical. Your last name, your email address, cookies. Another dangerous thing that they're looking for. The time zone, the country you live in, the city you live in, your gender, your local IP address, that's a unique identifier to you, your first name, along with a whole plethora of other things. You turn your phone on, they have anything they need, and they've developed this information for decades.
Yep.
And until you become a victim, you might have a better understanding. I don't agree with being tracked, and I use DuckDuckGo, and there's a lot of other things that I refuse to use because you are being tracked. But I'm not going to live in fear. But become a victim, and you're going to be the first one, along with everybody else, that's griping about the camera.
Yep.
The cameras are going to be established in towns And the criminals know that too. Do they want to take a better opportunity? They'll go to a town with no cameras. So, let that kind of be a voice being heard out there, and let's take a balance on it. We need to keep it under things that are politically correct and also not invasive to our privacy, but also to realize we need this technology because the criminals aren't stupid, and neither should we be stupid.
But why should I be letting the government do it, where they can track innocent individuals instead of?
Do you have the money to do it? Do you have the technology? Do you have the connections to go and put in your own type of camera system and then have people subscribe to it that are nefarious problems are going to be anywhere.
But if you want cameras, you can install cameras.
Oh, I believe me. Like I said, I've been a victim.
So, but that would be my argument against it. I don't need the government to keep me safe. I can keep me safe.
I agree. But the thing is there needs to be a balance. The cameras are here. The cameras are here to stay. You're not going to change it.
No, I hope we can, and I hope you're wrong. But I appreciate the call, Jackson. Let's go to Aaron in Bon Aqua. What's up, Aaron?
Hey, Chris. Hey, I just want to say, if it wasn't for you on 99.7, I probably wouldn't listen to it.
Oh, well, thank you. I think there's plenty of great shows on this station, even down to our weekend shows. They'd be rocking. But what do you got on Flock?
You're the only one the family likes. But anyway, I appreciate you having a family and loving your kids and serving the Lord. Keep it up. But these cameras, that cop that called in, he was from the north. And I know in the north, they love to be controlled. They love surveillance. They love all that. I don't. Yeah,
I'm with you. I'm not a fan.
I got a phone. That's my choice if I have a phone and they track me.
Yep.
It's not my choice if I stop at a stoplight and like the last guy or one of them said that it's been a victim of false accusations, and that's happening more and more, especially with AI. I mean, you could be arrested and put a photo out of you because of Facebook or whatever, and how are you going to defend yourself?
Yep.
And one more thing, as I was listening to a radio station about these floods, I heard Iron City, Missouri had 12 inches in 7 hours. A video everyone should watch is called Mega Drought, Steve Quayle. And I know you know it, but they've been manipulating the weather for years, and it's getting worse and worse. The guy in the video says, don't expect this stuff to be natural, because it's not. It's manipulated. Because this stuff, these rainfalls we're getting, these droughts in Utah's burning up, all these areas, this isn't natural. So anyways, kudos, keep it up. Love your show.
Appreciate the call, Aaron. I'm not sure if the flood was natural or not. I do know the terms cloud seeding and geoengineering. I know that for sure. And I know that there are pilots that have been caught on video that are in the planes spraying the material to cloud seed. I know that you can pay, I think the last time I checked it was like $250,000, and you can essentially prevent rain on your wedding day. It's weird, but it's out there. Cloud seeding and geoengineering are the real terms. It's worth a Google. Or a DuckDuckGo. All right, I think we got time. We're going to jump into it. It's the lightning round.
It's the lightning round with Chris Hand.
Oh yeah, we do it every day at this time. All the stories that we ran out of time to talk about because we got sidetracked with other things. I had more prep, but then we talked about cameras, and we don't like cameras. So we got lots and lots of calls. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So we got some stuff to get to. We got some stuff. You ready? All right. First story in the lightning round. I actually like this story. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
I do. San Francisco Chinese restaurant.
China.
Thank you. You're on it today, bro.
We haven't used him much during the show. I'm a little trigger happy.
I know. That was good. San Francisco Chinese restaurant.
China.
has started fining parents as much as $327 for out-of-control children.
What?
It's true. They said, what? You don't have to.
Okay.
You can keep going. They said, we will hold parents financially liable for all damage caused by their children to restaurant property. I'm here for it. Here for it.
I support.
Give me one more reason to shame my kids to good behavior at the restaurant. I do not want to pay $327 for this. It's Chez Zoo. Chez Zoo. I feel like that's French. Am I doing it too French?
Just a little bit.
Doing it too much French, not enough China.
Not enough
China?
I don't know how I would pronounce it. Chez Zoo? I'm still doing French.
I'm kind of interested to see how this Fox News reporter says it.
Chez Zoo? Well, it's CHEZXUE. So I feel like it's Chez Zoo, but I feel like I'm just going full French. And one thing about this Chinese restaurant is they are not going to surrender to your monstrous children. You like that?
I like it.
It's pretty good.
We got some thoughts about this one. Chinese restaurant in Northern California going viral for fining parents for damages caused by their kids. Here is what they posted on their website.
She didn't even say the name of the restaurant. They probably did the exact same thing behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Like, we're just going to blow by it. Nobody's going to notice. Except for that one guy in Nashville who's on 9 to noon. Chez Zoo? Chez Zoo.
Quote, Shay Shui is
there it is. My apologies. Issue an immediate redaction. That didn't take long at all.
Not even a second after.
That didn't take any time. I told you, I have no problem admitting when I'm wrong.
Rewind it, though. I need to hear what they said.
Chez Shui? It still sounded French.
Website, quote, Shay Shui is a...
Chez Shui? Hello, this is Chez Shui.
Hello.
Shay Shui is a family-friendly restaurant. However, we are not a playground. Please ensure children remain seated at all times and respectful of fellow guests and the dining environment. We will hold parents financially liable for all damage caused by their children to restaurant property.
Absolutely based. Absolutely based. As a guy with 4 kids, 5th on the way, do you know how many times I have referred to random things? It's not even just Chinese restaurants like Chez Shui. I've said that couch that you're on, not a playground. It says the kitchen countertops, not a playground. The restaurant we are currently in, also not a playground. I need reinforcements from time to time. And I think that this is admirable.
The restaurant actually added $327 to one tab after a child picked up a credit card machine and dropped it, causing the screen to shatter. Another customer was given a over $100 charge after their kid damaged a tabletop, and the restaurant even charged for a broken teacup.
The broken teacup might have been a bit much.
$5.47.
$5.47.
I was going to say, why did she say it like that?
I think it's because of the EDM music that they're playing in the background. They do the lightning round singing like I do. You know what I mean?
Can't blame her.
No, I can't.
Up $5.47.
It was on beat, right?
Yeah, it was.
It was on beat. Yeah, it's because of the music. Sometimes their EDM music in the morning is like really weird because it'll be like unsing, like uns, 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 and it'll be like 8 people died in a fire. It's like, why? The music doesn't match the story, ma'am. But I think the music fits on this one.
Charged for a broken teacup, $5.47. What do you think, Dad?
I agree with the restaurant. Why does a child need to be near a credit card machine?
What about a teacup?
Here's the deal. When you sit at the table and you have a teacup and a knife that he can or she can do like that to the table, you move the teacup and the knife. And if they start acting up, you yell at them. I hate doing it. I hate yelling at the girls. But I will make a scene in a restaurant to teach them a lesson that can't happen and also to avoid paying more.
I feel like I'm
Yeah, base dads. I mean, constantly we'll go to a restaurant and it's like, Oh, wow, you have so many kids. Here's a sharp knife for every single one of them. Like,
Hello, little Timmy. Are you having steak? Here's a 6-inch blade for you.
What are we doing? I will cut the food, thank you. We don't need that.
Look at me. I cut the food now.
Look at me. Yeah, I think this is based. The teacup's a little far.
It's a little bit.
It's a little bit much. But it is California. And the cost of living there, the taxes, I can understand why they're pinching pennies. Base story. We need more of this. I think it'll lead to more kids on iPads at restaurants, which I'm also against.
Yeah. Handcuffed?
Handcuffed kids. I've seen a couple news stories, though. That's frowned upon. I will say, nothing goes as far as the look. And dads in the audience know exactly what I'm talking about. It's the look that implies a bit of violence. You know what I mean?
Just a little bit.
It's like this. Like, look it. Ready? If you're watching on Super Talk TV, this is my look. That's the look.
I know that look all too well.
It's good, right?
It's good.
I worked on it.
Well, you better have. You have 4 kids.
It's improved with each kid. And I've had to use the look more frequently with each kid that came along. I don't know why. It just... That's how it happens. All right, got another story for you here in the lightning round. You know our friend Sri Thanadar? The guy who looks like he has Sharpied on eyebrows in Michigan?
Yeah.
The man with the very, 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 very thick Indian accent?
Yep.
Well, it looks like he could be losing his primary in Michigan. In fact, a lot of Democrats could be losing their primaries. 82% chance that 6 or more House Democrats lose their primary, and it's the largest number in over 50 years. And you know what CNN is calling it? They're calling it what we have classified this as for months on the show. This is the Democrats' version of the Tea Party.
Prediction markets think it might get even worse. It could get even worse. In fact,
Wait. Did his voice crack there? Was that just me? I didn't notice that. You noticed that? Might get even worse.
Prediction markets think it might get even worse. It could get.
Can you save that for a hotkey? I don't know what we'll need it for, but we will need it. Just tell me when you're ready.
Go.
Prediction markets think it might get even worse.
We're going to use that one, boys.
It could get even worse. In fact, it's likely to get even worse. So if you look at the Kalshi prediction market and the chance that 6 House Democrats go down to defeat, lose their primary in 2026, this number has consistently, over the last week or so, been hovering 80, 90%. And when we talk about history books, the history books, right? If, in fact, 6 House Democrats went down to defeat in 2026, it would be by far, it would be the largest number in a post-redistricting cycle for Democrats. And get this, over 50 years. That's why I got this picture of the Tea Party on your screen right now, because you know what? It's 250, but also it's a new Tea Party for Democrats.
New Tea Party for Democrats. How long have I been saying that on this show? The difference here is that the old guard of the Republican Party, after experiencing the Tea Party, they dug their nails in and they hung on for dear life, and we're still dealing with those losers. But the Democrats, I don't think, will be as lucky. It's 11:55. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand, and I got to tell you about my friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. If you're looking to save some money, they have some of the sweetest deals of the year going on right now. If you need a new HVAC system, listen to this. You are going to get a new HVAC system, and then you're going to get a free air duct fogging and UV light home treatment to help keep your home's air so fresh and so clean. You got plumbing projects? Well, you can save $800 on a whole home water and drain line replacement. That's a lot of money that you are saving right there. And here's some neighborly love. Join the Busy Bee Beehive Club. It's a tongue twister, but it saves you a lot of money. It's worth it. Learn how to say it, save some money. You buy the Beehive Club membership, you'll get one for free for a neighbor, whether you got to grease the wheels with the HOA president or you got an elderly neighbor that you want to take care of. No matter what you want to do, you can give one to somebody in your neighborhood. You need financing. Qualified buyers get 0% financing for 18 months with no interest if paid in full within the 18 months. 615-775-7833. 615-775-7833 or find them online. BusyBeeHVAC.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy with Super Talk 99.7 WTN, and this morning we are out and about at my house, my brand new house that I've been talking about on the radio, with Nate from USS. What's up, brother? How are you?
I'm excellent. How about you?
I'm doing well.
Good.
We invited Nate out. Now, obviously, when you're a new homeowner, especially when you buy a house that's got a few years on it, you don't know what you're dealing with in terms of foundation. And I know that Nate knows a lot more about what I don't see and what I don't know about than I do. So bring the experts out and get them to check out your house. Hey guys, Matt Murphy again with Nate with USS, and Nate has just wrapped. Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy with Super Talk 99.7 WTN, and this morning we are out and about at my house, my brand new house that I've been talking about on the radio, with Nate from USS. What's up, brother? How are you?
I'm excellent. How about you?
I'm doing well.
Good.
We invited Nate out. Now, obviously, when you're a new homeowner, especially when you buy a house that's got a few years on it, you don't know what you're dealing with in terms of foundation. And I know that Nate knows a lot more about what I don't see and what I don't know about than I do. So bring the experts out and get them to check out your house. Hey guys, Matt Murphy again with Nate with USS, and Nate has just wrapped up kind of a look at the house. And Nate, what'd you find?
Well, your house is in pretty good shape for the age of it. I had to look pretty hard to find.
Okay.
Your house being on a slope like it is here, I think we could do a lot of good by trying to terminate your downspouts a little further from the house there.
Okay.
Roof water is the killer of foundations, and so if we can just get it to a positive grade to drain away from your house, I think that's real cheap insurance.
You want to kind of get it out and downhill.
That's right. Yeah.
That's
So
the idea.
make sure that it doesn't come right back down towards the foundation walls and causing issues, settlement or leakage.
Now, if folks are watching this video and they are like, we need to get Nate out to the house to do a look. I mean, it took, I watched you do it. It's, 30, 45 minutes, something like that.
Yeah.
To do a comprehensive kind of an examination around the house. And they just give you a call and schedule?
Yeah, absolutely. You can call our main phone number, or you can call reach USSTN.com and schedule right through the website there. Our girls in the call center will get back to you just about immediately, as long as it's during business hours. So
this just makes a lot of sense, folks, for you guys to do an examination of your house like we've done, to check it out. I'm going to get those gutters done with Nate and his team at USS, and then we'll do a video and let you know how those look at the end of all of this. So thank you, guys.
Hey, that'd be great.
We appreciate you, brother.
Matt,
all
we
right.
appreciate you.